Ready? Follow me. Gitte Marie. It's been very good at Frieze Art Fair. We show the Jeppe Hein, we show the Dan Graham Pavilion, and everybody very excited about our presentation. We made this dual presentation because their work with each other very well. Dan Graham is a contemporary giant in the art world and a huge inspiration for, I would say, generations of artists. Olafur Eliasson, Jeppe Hein, Sarceno, but many artists who are working in the field of the audience participating in the work. He was one of the very first ones to create works that you could, as a viewer, take part in and be part of creating. Okay, let us meet my friend Emmanuel. Emmanuel?
Nicolai.
This is my friend Emmanuel Perrotin from Paris. We almost started the galleries at the same time when we were very, very young. Today you have 12 galleries all over the world.
No, I don't have 12 galleries. No,
You
let's
don't have
do
12?
it again. I'm in 6 cities.
6 galleries?
No, okay, let's do it. Let's do it again. On some of the city I have
More
a different
galleries.
space. For sure, I'm in possibility to do maybe let's say 3 shows in Paris, 3 shows in New York, and
I see.
and 4.
You could do 12 shows.
No, and also in Shanghai, Milan. Yes, that's the point. You are right. I'm in capacity to do 12 shows at the same
I do
time.
my research.
But I have gallery only in 6 cities.
This is my friend Emmanuel. I know him since the early 90s. He opened his gallery in Paris. I opened my gallery in Copenhagen. Today you have 6 galleries.
Yes.
Yes.
And I remember absolutely the time I met you.
Yes.
It was in the Smart Show in Stockholm.
You remember?
Absolutely.
Yes, I remember
and
too.
I was so happy to meet finally a young art dealer open his gallery just 2 years after me or 3 years after me, and I was able to play as a guy, know a little bit about life in the art world.
Exactly.
And I was trying to give you some advice. And
You are not the youngest anymore because I was a
no.
little bit younger.
Did you sell at this Smart Show or not?
No. I know you sold because you told me. You sold the thing for your belts that you have down here. He looked at your booth and
Yes.
said, I think I want this.
I have Damien Hirst, Maurizio Catella, and Takashi Murakami on my booth. I didn't get a single question from any person at this fair. Only one person come to ask me, "Oh, your bell is beautiful." I said, "Oh, it's a special piece for friends of the fashion designer." And, "Oh, sad, I like it." I said, "Okay, I sell it to you." It was my only sell in Smart Show.
Yeah.
It's Stockholm.
Yeah. Did you cover the cost?
I didn't cover the cost.
okay.
I maybe covered the cost of the bell.
I think 94. Yeah.
Already?
It was my first art fair ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was already my 4th or 5th.
Ah, really?
Oh yes, I did Japan, New York, Basel.
Yeah.
Yes, things like that.
But you
before.
seem very experienced when I met you in Stockholm already.
Because I was also assistant of gallery between 17 to 21 years old.
Okay. But Emmanuel worked with all the superstar artists in the art world. Can you name some of the artists you work with?
Maurizio Catella, Takashi Murakami, Bernard Fries, Sophie Kahl, M. Green and Draxet. And I was working with artists with you was working
Peter Lam?
Peter Lam.
Yeah. Many of these artists you have been the first gallery to
Yes, I
work
was
And
not
introduce
the
them.
complete first, but I
Oh,
was
but you
at really,
put them into the world.
and for sure I didn't say Damien Hirst because Damien Hirst, I don't work with him for very long time, but I was the first one to organize a commercial show
Yeah.
of Damien. Takashi, I was the first one to show him outside Japan, and Maurizio did other gallery, but I have a very long and strong relationship with him. Make me certainly the one sells the bigger numbers of works of Maurizio, but I was not the first one.
But also you're one of the famous ones because you did the Lapin.
I was dressing for 6 weeks in a suit of rabbit, but in forms of phallus, pink, and I have to stay all the weeks like that.
Yeah. And how did that feel?
You feel very hot first because it's super warm, the suit,
Yeah.
and strange because the power of the art dealers is to look serious, to you need to trust the art dealers and to be received by somebody who looks totally ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks like a penis.
Yes, exactly, and it changed my life because after my private life would change for a long time.
Because of
Every girl's meeting me, imagine I was Perrotin the True Rabbit. And trust me, that have some advantage.
Advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage.
Ah, okay. So,
If you see Nicolai in his gallery quickly dressing ridiculously, it will be from my advice.
how's it going at the Frieze Art Fair?
Not bad, we are quite happy.
Yeah.
We are never happy, in fact. I said that to make the guy go fast.
Stay
But
hungry.
we always dream of something never happen really.
Yeah, and that leads me back to how many galleries will you have in the future?
Depend of many factors, but the effect of concentration in the art world will be more and more. Remember, 30 years ago when we started our gallery, the bags of Chanel was a 4 or 5 city on it, you know, and it was looking already, oh my God, why the art world will be not submit to this evolution? Yes, maybe.
Like have a gallery in every major city?
Yes, it will be an effect of concentration. Some gallery will merge. Some gallery will take a very big space and smaller space around the world, and we'll have much more artists and will represent a force not exist yet. You know, we have some gallery very big right now already, but I'm sure it will look different in 10 years.
Would you have an advice for a young person wanting to open a gallery today? Because that is a huge difference since 30 years ago and to now. How would you start a gallery today?
To go step by step, not to open a big gallery directly, to be ready to accept to make a real job. It's not just a pleasure. It's you have to be totally dedicated. You have to put 110% of your time and your energy on it. If you're a rich kid and you want to open a gallery for fun, don't do it. A gallery, you have responsibility to make every of your artists able to survive from yourself. If you're a rich kid, don't do a gallery if you are not really dedicated to do it seriously and be ready to accept it's going to be very difficult. Many of the artists you want to show will wait you show your capacity before to accept to show with you. Look, the beginning is difficult, but it's much more easy to the time we started, because in addition we have the problem to make the people know about us. Now they have internet. If you are talented, if you make the good choice of artist, it's no reason the rest of the world don't know, because you have internet. At our time, we have to send slide with the envelope with timber, with the dream to see our slide come back to us. They don't have this kind of problem anymore.
That's true.
They are linked with the world.
I was thinking about when we opened the gallery, it was at a time in, I would say, recession. There was no money, nobody was buying art. Was that in a way making life easier because there was no expectations? I'm thinking about opening a gallery today.
Oh yes.
A young person would expect to have a nice, beautiful gallery from the beginning.
Yes. The only way of young gallery to try to keep the artist out of the bigger one is to pretend, oh look, they are commercial. They have many arguments to make them to make us looking bad, you know, or they will have no time for you. It's wrong. When we have, you know, many assistants, our assistant taking care of artists have a lot of time to taking care of them, because we have the specialist of shipping, we have the specialist of PR, we have the one taking care of the booth. They are dedicated. Do they really want to see me or to have me on the phone all the time? I don't need it's necessary. What is necessary is to have people working for me, good enough to be able to open a gallery, but at the place to open a gallery, they run a much better works for this artist, because they are in a structure much more accomplished, much more, you know, with a lot of resource. And that's why I grow.
Do you feel a pressure?
I feel the pressure every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
And that's
okay,
what
I'm much more relaxed now to what I was, let's say, 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We feel pressure to find a new way to develop the gallery, to find, because it's also my pleasure. Some dealers are focused to just selling art and to take 1 or 2 new artists every 2 years. But me, I'm also I'm interested for sure about that, but I'm interested also to be creative on the way to develop the gallery. And when you don't have money, you have always a pretext. You think, I don't have money, donc I cannot do this. When you start to have money, you have the pressure to have the choice. Do I do a good choice? Do I do a bad choice? And you see, I have to interrupt this because this person is very important.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is Takashi Murakami, the Japanese artist that Emmanuel has been working with since the very beginning. He is maybe one of the most famous artists in the art world. He's very iconic. He's also extraordinarily well known outside the art world. It's something that rarely happens, but when it's happened, it's very interesting. You can compare with one of the artists we work with, David Strictly, who also has a huge importance in the art world. He's a very unique artist and a big inspiration for many younger artists, but he also has a huge audience outside the art world. And it's quite rare that an artist from the art world can have this enormous impact in the rest of our culture. And as a little bonus info, Murakami is also an art collector and collected one of the masterpieces of David Strictly called Life Model that we showed in the gallery a few years ago. Murakami's work you can buy from $2 for a sticker in a shop to $2 million for a painting, or I don't know how much they are, but probably something like that. Over here we have, I would say, one work by Elmgren and Draxler. Originally, when they started working with the diving boards, the inspiration came from the very famous work by David Hockney called Big Splash, which is a painting of a diving board on a pool with a house in the background, where you see a splash of somebody jumping in the pool. This work has become like very iconic gay manifestation. The use of the diving boards are two erected diving boards, which also, I guess, has some kind of a phallus metaphor. So that's Elmgren and Draxler. What else do we have here? Let's see.